One of the most closely watched House primaries is a race that's still to come, which pits two of the biggest names in the Democratic caucus against each other. Democrats Jerry Nadler and Maloney debated last night, each declining to say if Joe Biden should run again in 2024, what they do.
Should President Biden run again in 2024?
Yes.
Mr. Nadler.
Too early to say. It doesn't serve the purpose of the Democratic Party to deal with that until after the midterms.
Ms. Maloney.
I don't believe he's running for re-election.
The third challenger.
We just got to say wow.
I'm really thrown off by those answers.
That's interesting because that's news to Joe Biden, I think.
Yeah, the guy sitting there watching these two, I would be very, very disappointed, actually. I really would. It's stunning, actually. And it's a very, very different response that you would see on the other side. Republicans always get around the nominees, sometimes defying gravity, which are their issues. But this is incredible.
Well, you saw the challenger, Suraj Patel, saying Biden should run.
Yes, he did, like easily.
Longtime allies of the president, Jerry Nadler and Maloney, are now facing off in the August 23rd Democratic primary for New York's redrawn 12th congressional district, which includes Manhattan's Upper East Side and Upper West Side. While Patel, a political newcomer, says he's within striking distance of the two veteran lawmakers, an internal poll just released by him shows that his campaign is surging. And let's bring in Suraj Patel now. Thanks so much for being with us. We got to say, we're a bit flummoxed by the answer to the Joe Biden question, but not a lot of ambiguity in your answer. Why?
Well, look, first off, last night you saw two very different arguments for New York and for the future. Neither of them could utter a single word about a plan for inflation, for the economy, for the future, or how to win this country back. All they did was do something very self-serving. They saw polling numbers or some absurd Washington Examiner type headline that said young people don't want Biden to run for office, and they threw their own president under the bus, which is a bunch of malarkey. Because I used to work for President Obama and Biden, and President Biden was one of my first bosses. I remember going to a horse farm in Ocala, Florida, doing advance work for him in 2008. Fact of the matter is, Joseph Robinette Biden was the only one capable of beating Donald Trump, and he did. In the first 2 years, he will, after this climate bill, be the most accomplished president since Lyndon Baines Johnson. And as commander-in-chief, he has put Putin in a box. So my question to the chairs, the House Oversight and Judiciary Committee is, what in the heck are you thinking, giving Republican talking points and ammo, and frankly making an ageist argument against your own president? Only one person should decide whether they want to run for president, and that is Joseph Biden.
So, Suraj, let's talk about the dynamics of this race. For people who don't live around here, don't quite understand it. You've got two incumbent congressmen, long time, running against each other because of the redistricting. Now, they both decided to run. So they're old friends. They almost wouldn't criticize each other last night during the debate. You had to kind of hop in and do that for them. But part of the case you're making is, in fact, generational. You said last night, it's 2022. It's time to turn the page on 1992. What do you mean by that?
Well, listen, 1990s politicians have lost almost every major battle to Mitch McConnell and today's Republicans. From abortion to gun rights to climate change, you name it. They don't have an economic argument for the future. And so generational change needs to come to the Democratic Party. It needs to come in a pragmatic way. So, you know, I'm the only candidate in this race who's put out comprehensive plans on the economy, on immigration. We're running this campaign with the same zeal, optimism, and hope that my family brought to this country when they had nothing. I slept on a living room floor until I was in 9th grade, Willie, and yet we are on the verge of pulling off one of the biggest upsets in political history. And the reason is because you can go to my website, which is surajpatel.nyc, and see a differences page. We are significantly different from my opponents. But I want to add one more thing. The reason we are in this race in the first place with Maloney and Nadler is because the two of them conspired to cut young and Latino voters out of their districts when they did their own redrawing of lines. The Times reported it. Kathy Hochul confirmed it. It's a very Tom DeLay-esque move. And so in some ways, this to me is a comeuppance for them to be running against each other with their anti-vax history and their backroom deals and their endorsements of each other. They have no ideas for the future. It's time to turn the page.